Hey guys, it's Jess, and I'm back with another crafty video. This time I'm going to show you how I made these super cute rainbow-shaped polymer clay earrings. If you're a beginner like me and you're new to working with polymer clay, then this is the perfect design style to start out with. Before we begin, don't forget to drop a like down below, and let's get started with the tutorial. To do this, you'll need some polymer clay. Here I'm using Sculpey 3, which I got off Amazon for $30. You'll also need a surface to work on. I like to use this shiny piece of cardboard material that I found in the house because I find that the clay doesn't stick to it as easily. Or I also sometimes use this baking sheet, which I also use to put the clay in the oven, but you can also use aluminum foil. You'll also need some sandpaper to make the bottom nice and smooth. Here I have this fine grade sandpaper as well as waterproof sandpaper. You'll also need an X-Acto knife, or any regular knife or sharp object will do to slice the clay. You'll also need some pliers to work with the jump rings and everything, and I also have these fishhook earrings, some jump rings like I said, and some earring backs. You'll also need something to poke holes for the jump rings to go through, and I find using a toothpick does the trick. Okay, so let's get started. Now, of course, you can pick any color that your heart desires. I've decided to use this blue, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I actually want to turn it into more of a pastel blue, so all I'm gonna do is take some white clay. Honestly, mixing the colors is probably my favorite part of the process. So I ended up with this color and I'm really happy with it. Now to create the rainbow shapes, all you're gonna do is roll it into one long noodle. And this is kind of a lengthy process, but keep on rolling it until the whole thing is about 5 millimeters in thickness. Try not to make it too thick because depending on the size of your jump rings, they might not go through if it's too thick. Trust me, I've had this issue in the past. Once your clay noodle is complete, you're just going to shape it like so. I like to start out with the inner part of the rainbow first because I just find it easier for some reason. Then carefully cut it. Repeat the same thing with the outer layer and make sure to kind of stick the two together, but don't apply too much pressure. Try to use the soft part of your fingers and avoid using your fingernails. Smoothen any edges if needed, and then just proceed to do the same thing with the other one and try to kind of have them side by side and make them the same size if possible. They aren't going to be absolutely identical because they are homemade, and that's kind of the fun of it. Next, you're just going to use a poking tool, or in my case, a toothpick, and carefully poke through to create a hole for the jump rings to go through. Next, preheat the oven to whatever your clay instructions say. For Sculpey 3, it says 275 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes, but for my oven, that's definitely not the case. It takes me way longer than 15 minutes for them to bake. I would recommend to just use some random clay that you don't care about and test out the oven first because everyone's oven is different. Then with my baking sheet, I like to make a little blanket like this that I kind of cover my clay with because in past experiences when I left it just kind of uncovered, it would burn my clay. So you can also use aluminum foil, but I just find this method works the best for me. Then as soon as you take them out of the oven, just drop those things into some ice water or just super cold water. That just allows them to harden even more. I don't know if there's science behind this, but it seems to work well, so. Next, to give the bottom a smooth look, I like to sand it with this fine grade sandpaper and make sure that you sand the bottom evenly, and then I like to finish off by sanding on the waterproof sandpaper. Next up, take your pliers and we're just going to attach the jump rings and hooks. This can be a bit of a tricky process if you're a beginner like me, but I like to just be gentle with it and twist them kind of out to the side and then push them back in and I tried to kind of recreate that perfect circular shape that it started out as. Lastly, apply the backings and you're all done. There you have it, some beautiful polymer clay earrings. I hope this tutorial was helpful and I can't wait to see what kind of earrings you guys create. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and I'll see you guys next time.